Welcome to the Milford School Committee meeting, Thursday, January 16th. Tonight's meeting is being broadcast, and there are members of the local media on hand. If anyone would like to make a video or audio recording of this meeting, please let myself or one of the other committee members know. First up on our agenda this evening is the approval of minutes. We have minutes from the regular school committee meeting on December 19th. Has everyone had a chance to review those? We have a motion to accept from Christine, a second from Joe. All in favor? Motion passes. Let me just make sure that's all we have here. Yep. Next on our agenda is announcements, correspondence, and distributions. Do any of the committee members have anything?
Unless Bob wants to. The only thing I would just put out there under this is that the Karen Wilson and Milford Public Schools is actually in the process of putting on a district-wide faculty play. Is actually going to be doing this coming not this week but next week on Friday and Saturday is what I believe it's scheduled for right now. Doing a play called "The Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum." So I want to give my quick commercial for them. I know they've been working very, very hard over several months. Bob, I believe you were in the pit for this.
Yeah, tomorrow night we rehearse again. We've been rehearsing for this. And don't be too humble to tell the world.
I'm really trying not to, but thank you.
You're going to have a chance to see a school committee member in the lead in the show.
Okay,
Scott has one of the leading roles in this musical.
You get us some tickets?
I got a guy.
$10 for adults, $5 for kids.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a fundraiser really for families in need in our town.
Yeah.
So it goes right back to the community. They've been working on this. I think you guys have been rehearsing since the fall.
Yeah, since about September is when the cast and crew, and they've really the whole group has really just done an unbelievable job, Karen, and you know, it's been great to spend a lot of time with teachers and administrators and people from everywhere. So it's you know, the teachers and the staff have definitely done a great job working really, really hard. I know the pit's been working hard. So definitely, if you are around and you have the opportunity, certainly encourage everybody to come out. The money does go for a great cause, goes for families in need within the Milford community. So great opportunity to get back.
Excellent.
Great. Yeah, good for you getting involved. Good plug, good cause. Right. There was a real nice article in the paper as well with our students at Woodland School. I hope everyone got a chance to see. Bob, you circulated it. Judy Dagnes did a wonderful job getting the kids active over there, and
absolutely,
that was some nice press too. So congratulations to all of them. Anybody else? No, Bob?
No, nothing this evening.
Nothing. Next up, we have invitation to speak. Is there anyone here for invitation? Seeing no one. Next up, we have Miss Lucy Jenkins from the Shining Star Early Childhood Center. Lucy, want to come on up? And Meg Belcito. Meg, welcome.
Hello,
Hi.
good evening.
Hello.
Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome. This is going to be very brief. We just want to give you a quick update on the registration for Shining Star for next year. Our registration for our returning and our new students for September begins next week. So our returning students will have 2 weeks to register, and then our new students will have until the end of February. But we just made a couple of changes. In the past, we've separated the programs by the number of days that parents wanted to send their kids. So 2 mornings, 3 mornings, 5 mornings. This year we're doing it a little bit different based on how our registration went last year and what particular sessions were more popular. So, for instance, our Green Stars is a 2-morning program, and it's typically for all of our students that are just 3 years old, so it's our youngest group, and the curriculum is geared towards the youngest kids. But what we're finding is every once in a while, parents will only want to send their kids for 2 days, so we have a couple of 5-year-olds in that group. It's not really in their best interest to be in a group with kids that are almost 2 years younger than them. So we did put some age restrictions on all of our sessions. So for instance, our 2 mornings is just 3 years to 3-7, and then our 3 morning, 4 afternoon, and from 4 to 4:11, and then our full day program and our 5 morning and 5 afternoon, you have to be kindergarten eligible for the following year. So once we get all of our numbers in, we'll plan our sessions based on what's the most popular session. So if we have to have another Green Star class for all our 3-year-olds, we'll do that, and we'll kind of play around with it. But we're not asking for any new teachers or anything, but I think for next year, based on our numbers from this year, we hope to open our second full-day classroom. And I think our Green Stars and our full-day will be our most wanted. The classroom that did not do well this year was our 5 afternoons, and I think I said this at the last time I was here. For whatever reason, our afternoon classes aren't that popular anyway, but our 5 afternoons, parents don't want to bring their children that extra day on Friday, so I think we're going to do away with our 5 afternoons, because what's happening is we have enough spaces for our children that are on IEPs, but not enough regular ed students, so our ratios are very off. We only have one class that has 5 afternoons. So for next year, 3 of our teachers will not be teaching on Friday afternoons, but we will be doing, as part of RTI, we will be providing tutoring to some of our students that are not on IEPs that just need a little extra help. And we'll also have groups for our students that are non-English speaking. So everybody will be occupied on Friday afternoons. We just won't have the preschool classrooms.
One of the other things that Lucy and I have been talking about, and I mentioned during our budget talks, the numbers are growing. So we're looking at space and making sure that we have adequate space for the children. Just as an example, we're going to start the next school year already with 18 children that we know of with autism. So we are watching to see how the referrals are coming in and what we have to do to make sure that we can accommodate the children with and without special needs.
And how many more kids is that than last year that have registered?
It's pretty significant. Typically, because a lot of our kids move on to kindergarten, we start with a lower number of children on IEPs. I mean, our children with autism has grown every year, as you know. So I don't think we've ever started with 18 students that we know of, and this is just January.
Right.
So usually we'll know that it may start with 18 after June or July. We'll know, but now that we know that there's 18 in January, we're going to plan for about 25, because we know that based on the numbers that have been coming in the past couple of weeks, that it's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
And our referrals have definitely gone up a lot this year compared to last year.
Understandably so.
Yeah. Yes.
It's the high price of fame, Lucy. That's what happens. You do a good job. Everybody wants to come in.
I mean referrals, someone who's taken a child they've been evaluated through early intervention. That's the kind of referral.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we're seeing
Mostly,
it
right?
mostly, but
Okay.
we are seeing an increase in the number of referrals from pediatricians and from other daycare teachers or preschool teachers where they've been somewhere else and now they're noticing some characteristics, so they've been tested and now they're coming to us. And we have a lot of people that have moved here as well this year.
Yeah.
And that's, question I have for you on that is I know that, I believe it was probably about a year or so ago, I know that there was some adjustments made around what the category, kind of what the spectrum looks like for autism versus Asperger's. Are you seeing that is impacting by increasing enrollment as well as some of those changes, or it's just
No.
we're seeing just an influx of people coming in saying, hey, Milford's got this great program. If I'm going to pick a place to live, I got to come live here because of what a great job they do.
I don't know if they think that, but
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's probably what it
We'd
is.
like to
but-
think they think that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we know from other school districts that, that Meg has talked to and that we've corresponded with. We do have a fantastic program down there. I don't know that, we're just seeing a huge number of children, an increase in the number of children that are being diagnosed.
Right.
So I think all
Okay.
districts are seeing an increase in referrals. And it's not just for kids on the spectrum, it's for other disabilities as well.
Yeah. From a space perspective, because I know that was a concern that you brought up last year,
Correct.
and now we're talking about more kids. I mean, where are we with that? I know you were looking for more places. I mean, are we?
We're
What's
pretty
the
tight.
plan here? I guess.
We're pretty tight right now. We're okay for the remainder of this year. We thought we were going to have to make some changes this year. But based on our numbers, and I know you all know, we've had this discussion, and unfortunately, we're going to need the space that Family and Community Network currently occupies, which is really too bad because they're a huge asset to our program because we get a lot of referrals from them, and they're a nice feeder program for us. But we just need the classrooms. So they occupy 2 classrooms. One of them will be used as a third Milestones classroom, so we'll have to get cubbies in there. We won't need any extra teachers. I know you guys approved the 3 teaching assistants that we're definitely gonna need. And then the other room where we have to plan on another medically fragile room, based on what we've heard from early intervention right now. We don't know for sure, but we don't wanna be caught in the middle of next year having to have somebody move because we need the space.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now. I think at some point, based on our numbers of tuition-paying students, we probably, at some point down the road, will have to open up another classroom with a teacher. But we can talk about that next year, or the year after.
Well, especially with cutting out the afternoon class too. I mean, that compounds it as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the number of referrals, because we always have to stay in ratio.
Right.
We always have to be 51-49. So
Yeah.
if we have an abundance of children with special needs, you have to have the space for the students without special needs. So,
Just want to point out the Family and Community Network with Sarah Humiston. We've been working with her. We'll continue to work with Sarah. We view them very much as a partner, the Milford Schools. In fact, we will continue to be the local educational agency for them. So they have a sort of a partnership group, or they have the sponsoring agency. We'll continue to serve in that capacity. We've even offered up some of the office space they
Yes.
could maintain that we wouldn't need to use for Shining Stars expansion, but the classroom space in the area they would need, they'd have to find a space elsewhere. And certainly we'll work with Sarah to help her identify a space that would be viable. We saw this actually coming some years back when Head Start was here, to recall. For a while, they were at the portables across from Memorial School, and those were taken down. We found space at Shining Star, and then as Shining Star continued to grow, unfortunately Head Start, we had to go to Medway, where they found space. The more we can serve our kids in Milford, but that said, the benefit of this is the students that are coming in with an autism diagnosis or with medically fragile needs are served in our own community. They're served right here. We're not having to send them out to another district elsewhere.
Right.
So there's the offset. We're losing some supportive Milford families by losing Milford Family Community Network, but at the same time, we're supporting Milford families with special needs in our own programs. So
Exactly.
it's that sort of balance.
Remind me, the portables at Woodland, those are leased or we own those?
We own those portables, yeah. So there may be
And are
issues
there
of use.
yeah, if there's a lot of room back there in the high school, I mean, I'm speaking off the cuff, but I mean, I don't know if we've discussed or there are plans to do something with those portables, but.
Yeah, we've bounced
Yeah.
around some ideas, but certainly they still belong to the school department, and if we feel they need someplace to use them, we certainly can do that.
Yeah. Something to think about.
Yeah.
that'd be great.
That's it.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming
Have a
in.
good night.
Thanks for the update.
All right, moving right along tonight. I think just in time, I saw Dr. Gilmore come in. Dr. Gilmore, welcome. Come on up. Right on time.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. Yeah, please.
See?
Hey, welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Runner-up, the Massachusetts STEM Teacher of the Year. Couldn't be more proud.
We're very lucky to have Dr. Gilmore on staff. The number of associations this is the first meeting we can get you at because of all the state and national organizations to which you subscribe and belong, and you were just doing egg drops the other day at Stacy's school, right?
Yes,
Hopefully
science
you clean that up. But thanks for coming tonight. Could you tell the committee a little bit about this recent honor of yours, just so they have some background information?
Sure. It was a new award. Last year was the first year. It was the 10th anniversary of the STEM Summit, which happens down at Foxborough at Gillette Stadium every year. And Robert Kraft decided that he would donate some seed money towards creating an award to recognize education. The Krafts have been a long-time supporters of science and technology and engineering education in the state and in the region. So this kind of fit in with their business plan. And they put out a call for nominations. Nancy Angelini, our principal at Stacy Middle School, offered up my name as a candidate. There was a process where applicants sent in. 5 finalists were selected. I was one of the 5 finalists. and then a teacher was selected as the STEM Teacher of the Year. That teacher received a $5,000 award and is featured at the at Gillette at the hall at Patriot Place, along with all the other great patriots. So that's that's the story, that background.
It's terrific.
That's great.
Great honor. How many teachers did you say were there?
There were 5 of us total. I was one of the. There was the person who won the award itself, and then there were 4 teachers who were the runners-up. I think I was the only middle school teacher.
Great. Great. I know you do a great job down there.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great, and it, because of the fact that you were the runner-up, Stacy received a $1,000 grant as well, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so that's
We have
fantastic.
$1,000 that I'm looking forward to being able to use.
bet.
Have some ideas for science club and for maybe some focus on career planning for middle schoolers thinking about STEM careers. I'd like to put together something, maybe starting next fall, that is a career fair for middle schoolers.
That's great. That's a good idea. Yeah, and I mean, obviously you have a passion for this, for not just for science, but for education as well, and it's contagious, and kids gravitate towards that. So we're very fortunate to have someone like you on our staff.
Thank you.
And I wanted, I think 2 of my kids had you. Maybe.
Yes.
Yes, I'm like thinking, sorry. that's
And
pretty
my
bad.
mother
They're
had you.
not that old. They're
It's been a
But
busy
one
year.
of the great things about Mr. Gilmore is he also has very high expectations of his students. So they learn actively, but kids can't reach the next level if that next level isn't there dangling. So I have a great respect for his delivery and how he gets these kids to want to do better and how he pushes them. Like, they don't think they can and they can. So I think part of that is that high expectation. And science, technology, and engineering have been huge focuses. But I think that middle school level is lost. The kids just don't get it. It's fun, science is fun. But if you can bring it to that next level and have a career fair or something like that, I think their eyes will really open up. Because I don't know that it's a fun thing now, but they don't get the real application, what you can do with it, and how important it is to our society, to their future.
All true.
Great. Well,
Excellent.
The one thing I'll say, I really appreciate the passion you bring to the everyday class. And, I've heard nothing but, tremendous praise about the way you carry the class and the excitement that you bring into the class. And, it's just really great to hear, not just yourself. I mean, we hear that from about other teachers, but when you're constantly being mentioned in that elite group of teachers in the district, I just want you to know that it's what we hear on a very regular basis. So thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I do want to, going back to the comment I made earlier, Mildred Gilmore, big influence.
I had his mom.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say,
As did you.
As did I. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
She briefed me last night before I came.
Oh, good. It's good to see she's still giving out homework.
High expectations.
Certainly come from what a great role model. So your mom is certainly a very classy lady, and certainly somebody that was well thought of here in the Milford Public Schools. It's great to see you carrying on that legacy and clearly taking it even further. So congratulations, nice job.
Thank you.
And the last time I saw you, there was water flowing everywhere in your room. That it got flooded and everything. I'm assuming cleared up from that.
It's the dry season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Dr. Gilmore. Thanks for all you do for us in the
Thank
school
you.
department.
Say hello to your mother.
Thank you. We'll do.
Yes, please do.
Good night.
We didn't dare ask who the better student was.
That wasn't me.
Mom was one of the first open classrooms at Woodland, so,
Yeah.
you know, we talk about that structure. I was in one of those open classrooms,
Where?
wide open space,
Yeah.
4 teachers in just a big room. Very, very interesting how education has changed, but that was her.
I had her standing, her next to Ann Bradford and Bobby
Mhm.
DeVito, so
Yep.
that was.
Well,
In the new Woodland back
Yeah,
then.
well, great family. We're lucky to have them in the system. Absolutely. Continuing along the lines of recognizing our outstanding
It's awards
individuals
night.
in our
I like
district.
this. This is great.
In line
We
with the
have Miss
season.
Jennifer Walsh. Jen, want to come on up? The
Mr.
2000, what?
I'm sorry.
Mark?
I'm sorry. Go, please. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, hi Jen, welcome. Our 2013 Special Olympics Coach of North America. I think that's very, very
Yay.
important to distinguish. Jen, where does one even start? What you have done and the contributions and the sacrifices you've made to the children in this district, what you've volunteered for and your passion for doing it. I've never seen anything like it, and we are so very fortunate. And to be selected out of 100, people need to understand, you won this award out of 120,000 other
Wow.
Special Olympic coaches in North America. And my hat off for you.
It's amazing.
That speaks for itself. So thank you. I know this is probably hard for you, but I appreciate you coming in and letting us recognize you.
Yes.
So.
We'll torture you a little bit longer to say this. When we were notified that you had won, I was so excited to hear that you had won, but not even a little bit surprised. You just do such a wonderful job in everything you do. We're so proud of you. So please keep up the great work.
I love what I do, so that's gonna be easy.
Yeah.
We knew on Sunday, and we had a,
Yeah.
so it was tough to sit on it for a couple of days.
Keep a
Yeah, it's
secret.
very well deserved. Were you surprised at Stacy Monday night?
Well, no.
Because I was driving to work and I heard
radio
Ed
heard.
Thompson and I was like,
When I got
We're supposed to be
congratulated by about 6 people in the building,
I
I'm like,
I felt terrible. I was like, I know they were trying to keep it under
Yeah,
wraps,
yeah.
but yeah,
but I didn't know the full scope. I just
you knew
I
you
had
got an
won. I
award.
didn't- Yeah.
well deserved.
Yeah.
Very, very remarkable. And what a difference when you love what you do.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. And you show, and the kids benefit from it. The school certainly benefits from it. We're very lucky. Well deserved.
Thanks. I feel lucky. I have a job that I love every day.
Yeah, it's great.
Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to most recently.
Which hat? I wear a lot of hats.
I
But
know.
my Special Olympic programs, they just keep growing, and I always say if I get a coach, I'll run another program. If I get a coach, because I can only do so much myself. And people have been coming, and we just keep opening more and more and more athletic programs. This year alone, we started a powerlifting and a wrestling program, and we had that big wrestling event.
Yeah.
And you know, I just want, my passion in life is to give people with intellectual disabilities the same opportunities as everybody else. So if I can keep that going, that's what I want to do. Yeah, and that's what I've been able to do, because Milford is awesome. It is. It's awesome. You get the support. Everybody wants to help. Everybody's, so eager to make the programs better. So, it's not just me. It's Milford. Milford's awesome. There's so many wonderful people here that are willing to help. So it makes it so much easier.
And you got, what, about 32 coaches right now? Is that accurate?
I have about 25.
About 25?
Yeah.
That's good.
And very passionate people that are willing to volunteer their time, because it's all volunteer. Yeah. So.
And I can't say enough positive
Yeah.
things about you. You've done so much for the community and for the schools and for children with special needs, their families. But you just mentioned all the people in Milford have gotten involved, and they've gotten involved because of you. You've inspired these people to get involved and play an active role, and you're just an amazing role model, and we're all very fortunate to have you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting. It was great to see how excited all the kids were and how proud all the kids were when you received that
It was the
award
best
the other
part of
day.
the night,
It
the
was-
kids.
it really was touching. They clearly love you. It's very obvious. So
Thank you.
great job.
Thank you.
And she didn't shy away from Channel 7 being there with the camera, right on her. And
With the
TV
kids
star.
there, it was easy with the
Oh,
kids
sure,
there.
the kids were
Yeah.
thrilled.
thanks to, I know Meg's still here. She's
Yeah.
supportive of you and to
I know,
Deb
Meg's
for,
awesome. Yeah.
for all the legwork they did in the background and
Yep.
trying to, their very best to keep this big a surprise as it could have been
I know it.
that evening. So it was
And
It
I
was a
saw
nice
it was
event.
picked up by NECN.
yeah.
And the wrestling program was on Nessun.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
what
Mhm.
you're doing for this town is amazing, and
Thank you,
just really incredible.
thank you.
And this is so great 'cause there's so many great things. We talk about that all the time in Milford, and people don't have a chance to get a glimpse into that.
Right.
And nights like this, they do. And it's just, and you're one of the most selfless people I've ever met. And everything's about the kids with you. And I think that, you know, your love for the job it just shines through. You know, we're so lucky to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You know, I think talking about the volunteers and the support she gets, I know Jen does a lot with the Best Buddies program too, that, you know, incorporates a lot of mainstream kids, if you will, to
Mhm.
get in and to learn about that at a young age and to help out and get involved as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's worth mentioning.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Congratulations.
much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for
Congratulations.
coming in.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you,
too.
Jen, for coming out.
This is one of the best school committee meetings ever.
Seriously.
Who's next?
Kicking off
Like
2014.
I was
one
gonna say, the
big-
Golden Globes were last week, and we get to do our awards
I
night
know,
tonight.
right.
This is great.
One big hug.
All right.
Kathy, you're next.
Well, next up on our
Bring on
agenda.
the warrants.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Next up, we have Bob, the report of the superintendent of schools. Bob, you got a couple things for us?
Sure. At your seats, I distributed a school building committee. This is a schematic design and budget report. This really is a media release that was given out in December. We haven't met since this was distributed, I don't believe. This gives some of the background information for public who may be watching. This information is available on our website. So if you go to milfordpublicschools.com, on the left side of the screen, you find the Woodland project, all of our meeting minutes, all reports like this, drawings of the proposed new Woodland school are all there. But this is for the committee to have an update. There's been so much that's happened since the last time we've met. I'm going to do my best to just catch you up from the time I last talked about that. Most recently today, I was in Cambridge at our architect's office, HMFH Architects. Myself, Principal Craig Consigli, Chairman of the School Building Committee, Aldo Chakey, and Vice Chairman Jonathan Bruce. The four of us were in Cambridge today meeting with the architects, basically planning for the upcoming town meeting. So the next big landmark, as we know, for this timeline, benchmark rather, is February 10th. That's when we'll need the support of the town. 2/3 of the town meeting membership will need to support, hopefully all of them will support the need for our Woodland School. We have a short video I'm going to show you tonight. This is a follow-up to the last time we showed the video. We get some feedback. There will likely be some feedback tonight from you, and then we'll hopefully get this to a final edit and then get this out to the public so they're well informed. It's about a 5-minute video. After the last meeting, Mr. Holland felt a voiceover would be appropriate, so he scripted a voiceover for this. I asked Craig Consigli to actually to narrate, so you'd have the voice of the principal on that. We'll show that in just a moment. But to give you just some more updates of what's happening between now and the February town meeting vote. So we have on January 29th will be a forum for town meeting members to come to Woodland School. There'll be a informational session. The PTO is providing refreshments, and as of right now, and I expect there'll be more, 28 Woodland School staff have volunteered to come that evening.
Wow.
To walk town meeting members in small groups through the school and show them some of the challenges that they face each day. I personally I toured the building today with one of the town meeting members. I wanted him to see it during the day and provided him that tour. That kind of work continues. Joe has been a great advocate on behalf of the school committee, attending the vast majority of every PTO and school council meeting that's happened in the last month and a half or so. I think we last reported that we had been to the senior center and one of the elementary schools. Maybe you want to give an update, Joe, as to what you've been doing?
Yeah, so we've met with the Stacy School Council, their PTO, the Middle East PTO, the Woodland PTO, the Brookside School Council, and the Memorial PTO as well. And as you would expect, there's overwhelming support there from the parents. You know, they're all very excited about the new school. You know, they're really happy with the plan that's been laid out as well, and they're excited for the new school to open up. one thing that stood out in my mind is that a lot of the parents thought this was already a done deal. They didn't realize that we had these two important articles that needed to pass town meeting. So obviously it's important that we get that message out there to all the town meeting members, because my concern is that town meeting members may think that, oh, this is going to pass with flying colors. They don't need me to show up tonight to vote. They'll get, they might have other conflicts, or they may have, they might just get comfortable sitting on the couch. And we need to encourage them to get down to town hall and make sure that they vote and support the schools. So.
And just to reference the two articles that Joe is speaking of, the first of which is a variance that we needed for the height of the building. There have been some concerns brought forward, as I'm sure you've heard. One of those being the setback where the school is located relative to the neighbors. That's been, again, if I apologize if I'm repeating myself
No,
in
it's
the last
perfect
meeting.
venue.
Just make sure that, I can't remember what happened when.
No, it's
No,
perfect venue to do it.
it's important to remind
Take
you, as
advantage
we
of the
get closer,
opportunity.
so.
Okay, so we've corrected the, in the spirit of working cooperatively with the neighbors by moving the building, and you'll see in the rendering in this slideshow, the video rather. We've moved the location of the school so it's further in, away from the houses. The variance that's needed, that's one of the town meeting articles, is the height. So the building in the center of it's like a barbell shaped, on the two sides is within compliance of the residential height requirement. The center, the academic portion of the building, is about 6.5 feet above what the code, with the current law in town or bylaw allows for. So they need a variance. There'll have to be another 2/3 vote is needed by town meeting members. Then the second vote that's needed, of course, is the funding of the project. And to speak to that just for a moment, that number is $60,900,000, $1 million of which has already been expended by the town for the feasibility study. So the feasibility is included in that number. So it's $59,900,000 is the actual construction cost. We're hoping for 50% reimbursement of that. So the number that's really going forward for the town obligation is about $34 million on that project. But again, no impact to the tax base on that. The town, you'll recall from the number of capital reports that I've given to the school committee, you've seen we've phased projects in, and there's really been no line items for a capital request at town meeting in the last 6 or 7 years. And the finance committee well knows that, and we've been basically waiting for our day, for our turn in line for a project, knowing that Woodland School would be that, and we're upon that day. So it's important that I think the community understand that we're not looking to increase anyone's taxes by doing so. We're not looking for any kind of an override or debt exclusion. This would be something that the town has thought about and is funded and is planned for that funding. And even as important, if not more important, is that this opportunity may not come back again from the Massachusetts School Building Authority in its funding capacity. These building projects used to be funded at 60–70% reimbursement. We're now hoping for 50. Down the road, that may be even lesser, and if we were to reject this at town meeting, just so people understand the impact of that, well, they can do fine without it. The reality is we can't. We're out of space in that school, and if we did have to go back to the MSBA, it's very unlikely they would take an application from Milford seriously after putting the amount of time and money that MSBA has invested in our town. So it's really the window opportunity that I believe firmly we have to seize if we want to see this project. Otherwise, we'll be asking for a new school down the road, and we'll be asking for 100% of it to be funded by the town.
And Bob, just so that we're clear on this is something that has been being planned for, and we've actually been, and has actually been signed off on. We've had to continue, you've had to, as a superintendent, throughout your tenure, and I believe it even predates your tenure with the schools as a superintendent, we've had to continue to resubmit letters of intent to be basically keep our name in the hat, so to speak, to be part of this for, I believe is it 10 years? It may be longer than that. Maybe less than that.
Well, the long-range educational planning, this whole plan has been really a couple of decades ago, revised. It was recently in the last decade. The number of what's called the statement of interest submissions that you're referring to, I've submitted 7 of them in my tenure. Well, the 7th one is the one finally that they said, we're going to invite you, what's called inviting you into the capital pipeline. And by being invited in there, they said this is a viable project. But the amount of work that got us to that point
Yeah.
You know, you apply to the same school 7 times, and they finally say, hey, you're admitted.
Right.
You know, you want to go there.
Well, that's one of the things that I want to make sure, and I think is important to highlight, is that, and I believe Tommy did it at least one, if not a couple of years before
He
you
did.
started as well. So I want to make sure, because it's important to see, from the time that we actually just applied for the million and went to the town for the $1 million for the feasibility study, the timeline frame seems to have moved very quickly. And I want to make sure that we're very clear in that the clock did not start ticking on our planning and our really asking the state for reimbursement on this a year ago. It started in excess of a decade ago when we started actually basically lining up, saying we want to be counted. We want to have the opportunity to be reimbursed on this. And understand this is a culmination of over a decade worth of work and saving and doing what Milford does, which is be fiscally responsible, make the right decisions, do the right thing to save up to be able to put ourselves in a position such that when our turn came in line, as it has now, if for some reason, and I certainly hope that doesn't happen, if this were to be voted down, it took us 10 years in excess to get to this point with the state, and that's when they were that's them taking us seriously.
Right.
If we were to vote this down, it's very conceivable to think it could be at least that long before we were to do it again. And I think you put it very well. We're out of space. This is something that is very needed. The town has continued to commit to it. So I certainly hope and put my, as I think we all do, our plea out that the town meeting members will do what they generally do, which is they take care of Milford and they do the right thing by the students, and they've always stood by the schools, and certainly hope that will continue.
Yes. I did circulate I'm sorry. No.
I was just going to elaborate on the outer space piece of it, because for those out there that think we can get by,
We cannot.
if you ever went in that school and you realized we've lost the stage to create a classroom, we lost janitor closets to create a classroom, all the halls are used as classrooms. That's where we're at now.
It looks like
And-
Milford Hospital's emergency room.
Right, so, we can't stress enough that when we say we're out of space, we are out of space. It is cluttered. When you go in that school, you see the janitorial and all the supplies in the hallways, because they don't even have storage space left. So, if anybody is thinking that we can get by, think again. It's a critical point here. It's beyond a critical point.
And after our budget meeting, we had this discussion, as part of our budget discussion, and we all were like, we can't do anything with the students. We are as tight as we can be. And I drive to work, and I think, in my long drive about this, and there's no solution here except a new school. There's no solution. There's no more space to build. There's no more land to build. That school has lived out its time. And the students are happy in the school. The teachers are doing a terrific job, but the function of that school, it's lived out its time. And we really, as a community, need to back up our educational system, from Bob to those before him who made this a plan, and also our whole finance committee, our selectmen. Everybody's been planning for this. And it's just the right thing to do for our community. It really, really is. And I hope people understand that this isn't just some pretty building. This is essential to the education of our kids.
Just
well
one,
said.
Going back, and actually I did some research on when Woodland was originally built. Woodland and Brookside were built very short period of time away from each other, which is why they're virtually identical schools. They were built in response to a population boom that the town of Milford went through. And they were actually designed from a building perspective, and this is what I think it's an important point to understand, is the building that we're proposing right now is designed to be a long-term permanent building with the right materials being used to make sure that we're able to serve the community and the students and the educational purposes of Milford for the long term. And the reason why I say that is that when Brookside and Woodland were built, they were actually by design built as temporary schools. They were basically an answer to what was perceived as a temporary population boom. that had occurred, and that's why the buildings were built in a very short order. They were built in a very short period of time. They were not originally designed to be 30, 40, 50-year schools, like the Memorial School is. If you drive around the country right after World War II, they built all these schools, and which is why almost every town and most of the towns in America have a school that looks just like our Memorial School. That was built for a long-term plan. Yes, we've had to do some renovations, but it's also was built back a long, long time ago. It's much, much older than these buildings are. This is designed to be the new building we're proposing is not. If you're concerned that we're going to be back looking for, oh well, in 15 more years we're going to be back building another elementary school. That's not where we are with this. This is designed to be a very permanent building. So it's.
And those are all great points. And you know, in addition to it being sustainable, it's going to support the curriculum that we've been working towards too, which is a huge part of this new facility. And you know, for the amount of time we've been waiting in line and have been well preparing for this, you know, I think it would be irresponsible not to also mention the buildings committee that we put together here in our town that has really done a lot of, every single member on it, and Bob, you and Patrick have worked with all of them, have done a tremendous job really vetting out the process, keeping on time, you know, in getting the right architects and project planners involved. That, you know, it's been very carefully reviewed, and now is the you know, that's just one more reason why now is the time to get that done. So
on February 10th, the chairman of the school building committee, Aldo Chakey, will present a town meeting. He'll lead off that presentation. There'll be a brief presentation. There'll be an executive summary provided to all town meeting members. Then we have our architects on hand, and it won't be a lengthy presentation, but they'll be there to explain all the details. And I would ask that I did circulate over the last couple of meetings. There's a spreadsheet of town meeting members. So if you haven't had a chance to, if you have some people on there that you have a personal relationship with, you could make the reach to them just to let them know this need and help them understand that. If you'd be so kind to sign up for, and then we can provide you with the list as a follow-up. We'll send you the names and numbers. And also just to remind anyone who may be watching that the 29th of January. At Woodland School at 6 p.m. It is an open forum for town meeting members, but certainly the public at large. If they want to come see the school, if there's questions, we're happy to give tours and answer those questions in addition to the work that Joe has been doing at all the schools' PTO meetings. After that, February 5th, there will be something happening. There'll be with WMRC radio. It'll be more or less a forum, if you will, with the architects, the project manager, myself, the principal, and others, just discussing the Woodland project, leading up, of course, to the February 10th town meeting vote. So all that said, I want to show you the video now. This is the revision of what we had done a couple meetings back, and again, we're hoping to finalize this. So as you watch it critically, give me some feedback again as to what we can do, and we'll move forward from there. So. Kevin, could I ask a favor again for the lights, just to, or Rob, just to kill the front bank? Thanks. We removed the score. Any music on this one?
Yeah.
And again, it's Craig
Couldn't
narrating,
focus.
Patrick Collins scripted, and the same video.
Great.
Extended that as needed. Of course, this has been up here the whole meeting.
So this is going to go on.
Subliminal.
Yeah. Is this go on the TV station as well? Will they run it on the TV?
Yeah, we'll run it on Milford TV. It will be on our Facebook page, on our
Okay.
district website. We'll push it out every possible avenue that we have. And certainly make a link available to push it out to town meeting members if they have questions. The benefit of this video versus just the evening presentation on the 29th is that you'll see there's kids, you'll see the scope of the need, in the overcrowding conditions that you wouldn't see in an empty building. Otherwise pretty well organized.
Woodland Elementary School was built at the same time as its sister school, the recently renovated Brookside Elementary School. They were both built as community schools, where each building served as a place to educate local children from kindergarten through 5th grade. Due to changes in education and population growth, Milford no longer uses a community school model. This means Woodland now educates children from across our community and is responsible for all students in grades 3 and 4. Since children from across our community must be transported to the school, the number of students who walk is greatly reduced, and the number of students who are bused in or dropped off by their parents has greatly increased. The bus loop and parking area for Woodland were not designed to handle this volume of traffic. Administrators must expend a lot of time managing traffic to make this environment safe for all children. The new Woodland School bus loop and parking lot has been designed with the correct traffic pattern in mind. In the plan, you can see the central bus loop has been separated from the parent drop-off loop in the upper left corner of the site plan. This accommodation means that students who are dropped off by parents or school buses will be able to safely enter the building, and traffic will be able to leave the school grounds more quickly. The Woodland Elementary School was designed around an open classroom model that has proven to be inefficient and distracting to students and teachers. This has made the construction of temporary and semi-permanent walls necessary. The design for the new Woodland School does not use an experimental classroom model. Rather, the new building goes back to the tried and true one classroom per teacher model that we use in our other long-lasting school buildings like Memorial and Stacy Middle School. We're out of space in Woodland. The cafeteria was designed to act as an auditorium. Population growth means the stage portion of the cafeteria is now enclosed and used as a classroom space. The new cafeteria will return an auditorium to Woodland so that students will have a place to perform and learn from outside presentations. The cafeteria will also be able to more effectively and efficiently serve all of the students in the building, eliminating the need to split lunches and thus creating less distraction from learning time. The gymnasium at Woodland is worn and needs to be replaced. Despite the care they have been given, the floors, walls, and equipment are all at the end of or past their functional life cycle. The new gymnasium is larger and better fit to serve community uses. Not only will it serve educational purposes during school hours, it will also include bleacher seating for spectators and will create a new community space for after-school and intramural programs. Every storage space at Woodland has been adapted for classroom use. What had originally been designed as storage space for gym equipment has been refit as a room to teach students. Broom closets have been turned into music rooms, and single classrooms have been subdivided to serve multiple classes. Unfortunately, it is not just storage areas that now serve as classroom space. Teachers at Woodland have converted hallways into classrooms, where learning can only begin after other students have found their way to different parts of the building. All open and gathering spaces are gone and have necessarily been converted into classrooms. The playground facilities are in need of significant repair and upgrading to ensure students can safely use them. During recess times, the students are using the car and bus loops with minimal equipment and inadequate space to move around. The new school prioritizes the need for students to be able to play in a safe area designed only for this purpose. Play structures, basketball courts, and adequate field space for students to safely interact with one another are integrated into the campus. Additionally, a full-size turf soccer field to be built on the property will allow the community another field similar to the high school for recreation after school hours. The transition students make from class to class become congested and unsafe in the tight hallways of Woodland. Woodland staff work hard to alleviate this congestion by creating indirect routes for students to take in an effort to minimize hallway noise and distractions to students engaged in classroom lessons. The environment requires 8- and 9-year-old children to use incredible discipline to focus on their teacher, other students, and the lesson at hand. At times, this can be a daunting and overwhelming experience for students. The plans for the new Woodland Elementary School create a learning environment that will optimize space for 21st century learning. The planned space will ensure that a rigorous standards-based curriculum will be delivered to the children of Milford in a safe, student-centered environment with minimal distractions. With priorities on school safety, differentiated instruction, and student-centered learning, the plans for the new Woodland Elementary School will adequately meet the needs of the children of Milford for generations to come. Woodland Elementary School was built at the same time as its sister school, the recently renovated Brookside Elementary School. They were both built as community schools, where each building served as a place to educate local children from kindergarten through 5th grade.
All right.
So there it is.
Yeah, I do too.
Lot better than the last iteration, huh?
Yeah.
Good. So if there's any other feedback on that, by the way, the quality, I apologize, it looks like the projector we have in here is in need of a replacement bulb, but it's a much clearer than, it's a high definition video, so when I send you the link of this, you'll see the.
But I wasn't waiting for it to be done. I was really, I listened to the whole thing, like I
Right.
was listening and saying, okay, would I get bored with this now? Or, no, I thought it was really, I really liked
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kudos
I
to Patrick for his
Yeah, I thought the
efforts in
text
that,
was
and
excellent.
great job with Craig.
Yeah, did a nice
Yeah.
job.
And
Much
I think
better.
I know we tossed out a bunch of ideas of whether it's Aldo or whether it's a couple of different people. I think having the principal of that school be the person whose voice is on there, I think is
That's the right thing.
absolutely appropriate.
Yeah.
I think that's
Bob,
And he
great.
has a good voice
I
for
do
it,
have
very-
one
That's
question.
authoritative.
Yeah.
With the need to push the school back, because you notice the bus loop is in front of the school with the, I don't know if it's a man-made pond right there, right? I mean, is that whole thing gonna have to shift?
No, all that's where the shift happened was that all stayed. It just shifted the need to move instead of a single parking lot. There's now you can really see it on this video. So there's actually 3 parking lots. So there's one larger parking lot, which is actually also a car drop-off area,
Right.
and then there's 2 smaller. One parking lot that's near the to the play fields, the artificial turf field, and then another parking lot closer to the roadway area. There'll be a walkway to the school.
Oh, so it's
there.
not from the apartments, it's from the other side?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we
great.
just kind of push
I
it over
gotcha.
that way.
And
Great.
It's
the-
20 feet. That made
Yeah.
a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pond that we saw in there is the existing retention pond that's
Right.
already in place. We're not
moving it.
We're not
You
building-
actually
And you
we're
can't.
not building
have that.
fountains, right?
No, you actually, there's some areas I believe that we are moving, you have to, if you move wetlands, you have to remove it and move it elsewhere. The pond is not one of those areas, so
Yeah,
that's,
no.
what exists there is what we
Yeah,
work
that's-
around.
That was my understanding as well. I just wanted to make sure I clarified.
Yeah, sure. So unless there's anything else on the Woodland, I think we're in good
That's great.
spot. I'm gonna now
It
share,
looks
I'll
good.
share this with the school building committee, so they have a chance to look at that as well, and then we'll push it out to the public.
If you can
Get it as many places as we can, absolutely.
We'll have it in all of our schools. It'll be on a loop, this loop, all the time, and at Shining Star, Memorial, Brookside, Woodland, in addition to our website, Facebook page.
something you may want to think about, I know you mentioned that we were going to put it out on the Facebook page. I don't know who manages the Facebook page, but if you can create some of these pieces as events on our Facebook page and even submit it out, and I'll certainly, if you can submit it out, we may want to, school committee members, if we've all got Facebook pages, if you send out the day of the 29th, the date of the 5th, and include that video in it as an event, then we can share it on our Facebook pages with all of our.
Yeah, actually, Melissa
families as
handles the
well.
Facebook page.
That may
for
be
us,
one
so.
way that we can help continue to get those things out. I don't know how many of the members are on Facebook. I know, I'll definitely happy to put that on mine. And send
Yes,
it
if you
out
don't have,
to
if
folks.
Milford is not, if you've befriended us,
Which I have, so
Okay,
that's,
yeah.
that'll be fine. But you can actually create an event and send it out to certainly the school committee members, but certainly anybody that's out
Excellent.
there.
Good idea.
Okay, any other comments or questions on the Woodland project? We're getting close.
Yep, good, thank you.
It's upon us.
Crunch time.
Crunch time is right. And the other item I have to report on this evening is the Hospitality and Tourism Management Program update. We just completed 37 interviews of students for the program. So in the time that I reported to you last, we figured we'd have 20 or so applications. That now is at 37. I have to tell you how impressed I was. I popped into a couple. I wasn't in for all the interviews. It was done by some staff here. Matt Bayonne, our guidance director, was in all the interviews. And we have to now pare this list down to accept a cohort of about 20 to 24 students. So it's a selection process. The essays, as I mentioned before, were outstanding. The interview skills, a lot of our students haven't had the opportunity to interview before. So this is quite an experience for them. We didn't want to overwhelm them with administrators in the room. So it was like a guidance counselor might have been in there, a familiar face to them. And the questions were great. Why do you want this, and what's the, what do you hope to do with this program, and why do you think you're a fit? And those kinds of questions. The kids did remarkably well in their answers in the interviews that I happened to see. So the feedback was great. So we'll very shortly be naming our first cohort of hospitality tourism management students, and I'll be. Might have already invited you to a welcome breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on January, I think it's January 31st.
31st.
Okay. and that'll be at around 8:30 in the morning at the DoubleTree is our partner. At that meeting, we've invited Senator Moore, Representative Fernandez, all of our program advisory members that are overseeing the program. In other words, Atlas, people you might have seen before, Atlas Travel in Milford, the DoubleTree folks, Quinsigamond people, anyone who's been involved in any way with this effort will be invited. Of course, the students who will be accepted to the program will be there, and we'll introduce them and welcome them and thank our community partners. So that's really exciting. We've, as you know from the budget discussions, we've already begun to plan for that, and now we'll be customizing the curriculum for those students in the program so they meet all their graduation requirements, have the opportunities for electives, and still have the opportunity to work at the DoubleTree and get that hands-on training there. So it's really exciting. Again, I want to just thank you again for your support of this program. What's interesting to me is the range of students that I've seen. I've seen students in our Pathways program apply to this program, and I've seen students who are basically top of their class who are applying to the program as well. So the range of students who have an interest either in this industry or some sort of related industry for their own professional goals is really just fascinating to me. So it's a great opportunity for just about anybody, provided they fit the bill. So unless there's any questions on that, I'm happy to field that. But I think you'll have a chance if you are able to attend on the 31st to meet these kids firsthand and hear a little bit more about the program. So
Good. Great, thank you.
yeah, that's all I have for updates this evening.
Thank you, Bob. Next up, report of the Assistant Superintendent for Business and Human Resources, Kathy.
The committee has 4 warrants for approval this evening. The first warrant is in the amount of $25,281.
Motion from Don, second from Joe, all in favor? Unanimous in favor?
The second warrant is in the amount of $413,493.40.
Motion from Scott, second from Christine, all in favor? Unanimous in favor?
The third warrant is in the amount of $33,049.80.
Motion from Joe, second from Christine, all in favor? Unanimous in favor?
And the last warrant is in the amount of $350,142.74.
Motion from Scott, second from Don, all in favor? Unanimous in favor?
The committee also has the personnel update with the latest appointments. No vote is required. I do have course reimbursement for the committee's approval in the amount of $12,922.14.
Motion from Scott, second from Joe, all in favor? Unanimous in favor?
The committee also has the latest budget update, and there are no fiscal areas to further talk about or concerns.
Just a quick question I have, and Kathy, snow removal for the schools, is that done, do we do that on our own budget? Is that part of the town budget for snow removal? Is it a private?
We do have a plow and sander that we do, just local, small cleanup with. Otherwise, it's all under the highway department.
It does, okay. So
Yeah.
as far as no concerns over we don't have a snow and ice budget or anything like that. When I looked through the budget, I didn't see anything on it, but just wanted to make sure that there wasn't a separate pocket of money here.
No.
Excellent, good.
Thank you.
Because it's been a little snowy earlier than for a pretty early winter, so,
Certainly icy.
yeah. Although the 50 degrees today was nice.
It
so,
was.
Did Rob ever find storage for that?
Yeah. For our equipment.
The plow.
Oh, I don't know where is it still the fire
I
station?
think it's still at the fire
The
station.
old fire on Purchase Street? Yeah. So far. That's where it's.
Maybe we should have him scope out what he needs to have a storage facility somewhere.
Yeah, we'll want to get through the Woodland project and then we'll make that our next
Right.
priority. We need something, especially if we continue to add vehicles.
Maybe a field house would be nice.
Let's get Woodland done first. Let's get Woodland done first. I'd rather buy another lawnmower than put a kid outside teaching a class, so.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Next, we have the report of the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction and Assessment.
So I have
Yep.
5 brief updates for the committee tonight. First of all, on MCAS, our principals at the grade 3 through 8 level this week have quite possibly put in their final MCAS order, potentially ever, depending on which direction the state goes with MCAS and PARC in the future. Currently, we're leaning to moving to the PARC test for the 2014-15 school year, but again, we're still waiting for a little more information and direction from the Massachusetts Department of Education and the State Board of Education. This leads into the next update on the PARC pilot. We'll be piloting the PARC tests at Woodland, Stacy Middle School East, and Milford High School at grades 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And we'll be doing this in English language arts at all levels. For Woodland through Middle School East, we'll be taking the performance-based assessment, which is which will be done in 2 classrooms in 3 sessions, and that'll be paper and pencil. For Milford High School, we'll be doing the online end-of-year test, and that'll be 3 classrooms. And the principals right now are in the process of following the DESE rules and regulations of randomly selecting the classes. And as soon as we do that, we'll be sending information home to parents about the PARC pilot test. We're part of about 80% of schools and districts in the Commonwealth who have been selected to participate in this pilot. Okay.
And I'm sorry, when is that going to happen, Kevin?
That actually happens for the performance-based assessment. The window is actually right after the ELA MCAS, so late March into early April, and before the math MCAS. For the end of year, it kind of takes place after all the testing. So there'll be a subset of our student population that'll have a few extra test sessions. The good news, bad news is the difference between the PARC and the MCAS is the PARC tests actually have a time component to them. So unlike the MCAS, where a student can begin in the morning and kind of go to the end of the school day, the PARC tests basically are like 3 one-hour sessions. So it's not quite like the MCAS in that respect.
Quick question, just, and it can be something that I don't expect you to necessarily have an answer. How does that play in, and what impact will that have on IEP students who have untimed tests as part of their IEP plan?
So right now, Meg Belcito and I have been looking over with each of the building team chairs the accommodations, and my current recommendation is not to shift any or amend any accommodations or modifications for this particular year, because they're already set up for MCAS and what the student is experiencing in the classroom. But for the 2014-15 school year, we're going to look at that a lot more closely, and we're in the process of doing that right now.
That's going to be an important part to make sure that that parents are aware, and B, that, and I'm glad to hear that you and Meg are working on it, but that the special education teachers, unless it's very different from MCAS, you actually, my understanding is the special education teacher actually has to make sure that it specifically mentions standardized MCAS testing accommodations. I'm assuming it will probably fall into the same piece. So as we get into, my concern is we're halfway through the year. Some of these meetings may not occur again until next year, so they may not have to revise those IEPs until after it's too late.
Correct. So we have kind of 2 bites at the apple here. One bite is we're going to probably be able to hit all the spring annual review meetings.
Yep.
And then folks that have already had their annual reviews will be well before the testing next year. So I think we'll be covered. The real difference is going to be when we shift to the online testing, and that's when the game is going to change a little bit. But like a lot of schools and districts in the Commonwealth, and quite frankly around the country, we just don't have the technological capacity to do the online testing at this point across the board. We're able to pilot it at the high school because we have that capacity, but when all the students and all the grades 3 through 11 are taking the tests, currently we just don't have the infrastructure to do that, which is not unusual for a public school district.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Does the online test return the intermediate score?
Ideally,
that's
the goal is to kind of close the loop in terms of getting feedback to teachers and school districts, and that's why they're moving in that direction. So you don't have to send the tests, back and forth and have scorers score them. That's kind of the reason they're moving in that direction, because you're going to get an immediate result.
So we will during this pilot.
Pretty. We're not going to get any results from the pilot.
Okay.
So we're not going to receive individual reports, school reports, or district reports. I think the state is going to have a general report that they're going to present, and that's going to be part of the recommendation process to go to PARC or MCAS for next year. It's all part of the pilot process.
Yeah, thanks.
Great. Next, I just want to give a quick update. Everyday Mathematics. McGraw-Hill Education is going to be, we're going to be hosting them for an Everyday Mathematics regional presentation for administrators, which is going to take place on February 3rd, right in this very room. There's a session from 8:30 to 11 and 2:30 to 5. I invite any of the school committee members who are interested and are available to attend this presentation. There'll be a number of representatives from districts across the region. The topics they'll be discussing during these two sessions are guiding questions for standards for mathematical practice, unit reviews connected to the Common Core, lesson templates for teaching writing for open response questions, and new resources related to Common Core alignment. So I just want to give the committee that update.
I think Patrick Holland mentioned some interest in that. I'll get him that date as well then.
Great. And I'll follow up with an email too, because I talked to him
good.
as well. I'll send him an email because he was interested in possibly kind of learning more about the program and the presentation.
Great.
Tomorrow we have professional development half day, so it's early dismissal. And I just want to update the committee on some of the things that will be happening in the schools. The broad focus of professional development this year has been the response to intervention program, which includes classroom-based interventions, pull-out interventions, the workshop model, setting learning targets for each classroom, and generally working to support the needs of all learners in the building. Tomorrow, a lot of the focus will again be on the response to intervention program related to specific instructional practices. A lot of the schools are breaking out into breakout groups where they're going to be focusing on very specific aspects of either response to intervention or using the workshop model in the classroom. Team chairs will be engaged in a 504 training along with adjustment counselors and guidance counselors. At the middle school, Middle School East in Stacy, they'll be actually seeing a Common Core and Park presentation by Eamon Cunningham, who's the chair of the English department at the high school, and also part of the team that is reviewing questions for the Park exam. One of, I think, 20 teachers in Massachusetts is doing that, which is great. It's a great resource to have in the district. And then again, the workshop model and development of district-determined measures is going to be a lot of the focus tomorrow. And then, which leads into my last update on district-determined measures. District-determined measures is the next phase of the educator evaluation program. And on January 22nd, the curriculum team will be meeting to talk about the proposed district-determined measures for each licensed educator in Milford. And we've got a kind of a review process that we're going to go through. The real focus and value of this program is the discussions about what the assessments tell us about student learning, curriculum, and instruction. And that's what I've got. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have new business. Do any committee members have new business? Seeing none, do any members have any old business? Don?
I just wondered if you could sync up with Kerry and give us some feedback on the cell phone thing that we have.
Yeah, I know she's reached out and she has some updates from other school districts, so I will.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm anxious to hear what other schools are doing, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Joe?
So Patrick and I have been working on the school committee self-evaluation. We're close to wrapping that up, and I hope to share something with you to review at the next meeting. As you recall, the intent isn't to grade the performance of the committee or any individual members, but more so to reflect on our practices, identify areas for improvement, and set goals as a committee. So one thing that we've been talking about is changing it from being called a self-evaluation or a committee evaluation to calling it something like a school committee improvement plan. So we follow a similar model to the improvement plans that we hear from the individual schools, where again we'd have an opportunity to still reflect on our practices, identify areas for improvement, and set goals, and then be held accountable to those goals each year. So we'll have something for you at hopefully next week for you to review and gather some feedback.
All right, great. Yeah, when you get that together, Bob will get that on the next agenda. And
Want to do it for the next agenda, or
yeah, hopefully.
I'll wait till I hear from you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Yeah, no problem.
Anyone else? No. Seeing none. There is no executive session this evening. So with that, a motion to adjourn from Scott, second from Don. All in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.